Hello and welcome to Sports Babble, the only show on the internet that begs to present the representation and ask the question, what would happen if a coke-addicted sports anchor merged and fused with Woody the Woodpecker? Let's do this. Alright, remember, this is not your father's sports network. Alright, this is our first show. We are busting the seal on this, and let's begin. We're going to first start off with the topic of Aaron Rodgers. What could in the potential payday he will have for the NFL. Alright, currently Aaron Rodgers is under contract until 2019. Now, that's a good thing and a bad thing for the Packers. This is going to be highly sacrilegious because I'm a Packers fan. I'm actually live in this state, Kenosha, Wisconsin. Yay, Kenosha! The representation of Detroit on a microcosm. Any rate, that's besides the point. If I'm Green Bay, I'd be highly concerned that Rodgers will leave us in free agency in 2019. Let's break this down. For first and foremost, Green Bay has not put a team around him. And proof is in the pudding. They've had consistently the worst team outside of his performance. We saw this. It manifested itself last year when he got injured. And there will be a bunch of people saying, "Oh, well, you have a superstar quarterback that gets injured. Your team's supposed to suck." No, that's defeatist thinking and attitude. Minnesota got to the NFC Championship game with 3 different quarterbacks. 3. If you build your team right and actually sign free agents, guys, and not overvalue your homegrown talent, you will actually succeed. Look at New England. New England does this every year. They cut guys before they get too old. Meanwhile, Green Bay hoards them until they're 2 to 3 years beyond the point of actually providing a value. If you don't believe me, I present to you with our leading sack person, Clay Matthews, had 7.5 sacks. So, why would Aaron Rodgers leave? That is reason number 1. There's not a team around him. Reason number 2, he's not really from the area. Green Bay is a lovely small town, but it's simply that, a small town. He doesn't stay here in the off season. He goes out to California. So he only stays here during the 6 months of the year that is the NFL season. At his heart, he's a California kid. He's a big city kid. There's no reason why he should stay here. I mean, Green Bay is a great market, but it's a small market. He could easily make more money in endorsement deals if he was in another city. And that brings us to the other point. The other point is, when he becomes a free agent, teams are gonna back the truckload up for him. If you think that ridiculous deal for Kirk Cousins that just happened, for Minnesota making him the highest paid NFL player of all time, can you imagine if Rodgers hits free agency, what's gonna occur? If I'm Green Bay, I'd be very worried. This is basically you have him for 2 years to try to persuade him to stay. Now, will he pull LeBron like LeBron did originally when he first stint in Cleveland and decide to take his talents to South Beach? I don't know. But if I were him, I'd think about it. You're not getting any younger. From what is my pair view is, this team is not going to compete for a Super Bowl. We'll get in the playoffs. Talent-wise, that's it. We may not even win our division this year. Minnesota, with Kirk Cousins and that roster they have, is very talented. And there will be plenty of teams that will be looking to back up a bunch of money into his lap. Denver being one of them. Denver still believes they have a great Super Bowl nucleus team surrounding them with high-level talent. They're just a quarterback away. Now, how can Green Bay prevent this? Simple. They can sign free agents. They're attempting to do this. Jimmy Graham's a good signing. That'll help offensively. We still need a pass pass rush and other defensive playmakers, so that way we don't have to put it all on Aaron Rodgers' arm. But the simple fact of the matter is, we're going to need a huge overhaul, and we don't have the cap space to do it. Our draft and development method is not working. It hasn't. So, now comes the most sacrilegious thing I'm going to say that all Packer fans are going to hate me for. But, simple truth of the matter, we may have to consider trading him after this year. Hear me out, before everyone firebombs the comments. Hear me out. If he's going to leave, and I have an inkling he will, let's get something for him. Let's see if we can get, a first round pick for him somewhere. Let's try to get some payback for him. Because if we don't do that, we'll be SOL and we'll be wandering through the woods. We've looked out as a franchise. We've gone from one Hall of Fame quarterback to another. Do you really believe that's going to happen the third time, especially if we don't position ourselves high in the draft to get a high-end quarterback talent? No. And we saw last year, Brett Hundley's not the answer. And I know we just got Deshaun Kaiser, who's a highly young, valuable quarterback. He's not ready. Deshaun Kaiser was the worst quarterback statistic of last year. Granted, he played for Cleveland, and it is Cleveland. But we're going to need to really do some soul searching and overhaul this roster to even have a chance to keep him. Now, this brings me to the next crazy concept we got going. Remember, this is not your father's sports show. We're going to throw some crazy, wild things at you and opinions. So let's do this. The NFL draft. That's coming up pretty quickly. I've seen that we've already gone through the combines. There's already been trades up in the position even before the draft has begun. So, here's my take on this. Quarterbacks are great. Quarterbacks are what, in this league, drive wins. It's a passing league now. It is a passing league. Now, you have to protect your quarterbacks. That's why the most second influential position is on the offensive line. Now, I'm going to throw a curveball at everyone. Everyone says left tackle. It's not left tackle that's the most important position. Because where do all quarterbacks struggle? Pressure up the middle. You put pressure up the middle, I don't care how athletic the quarterback is, they're not escaping it. That's what all quarterbacks hate. Quarterbacks are trained when they face pressure coming towards them, they step up into the pocket. That's why center is the most important position on the offensive line. That's the truth. That's why if you're building a team after quarterback, your next draft position on the offensive side of the ball should be a good center. A great Hall of Fame level center that can protect your quarterback, bark out the signals to the offensive line, and push it forward. That's what I would do. That's how I would start building any team. Okay, next inflammatory topic we're going to talk about is LeBron James, King James himself. The prima donna of the NBA and the drama that's been this season for him. Now, it has been interesting, to say the least, for LeBron this year in Cleveland. There's the Kyrie saga that happened during the summer. There's IT. LeBron now saying he misses playing with an all-star, and Kevin Love coming back. I've never seen Kevin Love have so much love in his life outside of his own mama now. LeBron is dabbing him up with so much love. It is almost a ridiculous sideshow. But that's besides the point. LeBron James coming up. This is going to be a defining year for him. This could potentially be his lost year if he doesn't win the title. Or if he doesn't even make it out of the East. Is that a possibility with this Cleveland roster? Yeah. Now, do I think it'll happen? No. For the simple fact of, I don't trust Boston. Outside of Kyrie, who's getting you a bucket in crunch time? Al Horford's a great player, but that's not what he's known for. Jaylen Brown, Great player. Still a young player. It'll be wait to see if he will develop for this playoff stretch. If he can something to rely on. Toronto, they have a history of collapsing. So I don't know if I trust him. He'll make it out of the East, but it's going to be a struggle. And whoever he faces in the West, they're going to get blown out. It's going to be a 4-game sweep. If it's Golden State or Houston, both those teams are going to blow them out. The real NBA champ, the real NBA Finals champ will be whoever wins the West. That is going to be a tough battle coming up. Now, let's bring into the speculation about next year. So, if LeBron can't win a title with this roster, and it is hit by a cap crunch, what can they do? Well, what he can do is move on to greener pastures. I know, low-hanging fruit. Speculation about where LeBron's going, low-hanging fruit. I get it, I understand. But, hear me out. It's an important topic that needs to be talked about. I've heard a plethora of potential landing spots for LeBron this offseason. I've heard LA, I've heard San Antonio, I've heard Philly, I've heard Houston. Let's break all these down. LA, pros, cons. Young team, Glamour City, LA. He has a house out there. 2 homes, actually. From what we've seen, he wants to be a movie star. So, potentially great landing spot. One slight caveat, though. You know him. You know where I'm going with this. Big baller brand, LeVar Ball. Will LeVar Ball persuade LeBron not to show up there? Potentially. I mean, it'll be a circus. Can you imagine LeVar Ball going at LeBron saying that his kid's not getting enough touches? Whew. It would make this job easier in every sports channel ever, but if I were LeBron, I don't know if I'm going there. You do have a great young nucleus, but it'll be a sideshow circus act with LeVar and his big brawler antics. Now, let's look at Houston. Great team. Chris Paul, James Harden, dynamic players. However, to afford LeBron, they would have to gut the roster. And all those interchangeable 3-and-D guys that make Houston the team they are in the great depth, that may be thrown out the window if LeBron's there, and it just may be a skeleton of a roster. It'll be those big 3 stars and your average Joes for the YMCA. Side note, if that does happen, I am available. I can dust off my old jump shot and I can do this, guys. No, in all seriousness though, it would be a skeleton roster, and he'd have to exert a lot of minutes just to do well. For that reason, I'm not putting my money on Houston. Now, where would the smart money go in this situation? That leaves 2 real options. Stay in Cleveland, which no one's gonna dismiss him for wanting to stay in Cleveland. It's his hometown. He's getting up there in years. I mean, I know he's still performing at the highest level and it still is the best basketball player in the NBA. But Father Time's undefeated. He will slow down eventually, and if he wants to just ride off in the sunset in Cleveland, I respect that and I understand that. But there's one more intriguing option that could potentially come up. That is the idea of Philadelphia. Now, Ben Simmons can't shoot, so they would have to figure a way to put more shooters around him, because it would be Ben Simmons and LeBron James, both 2 non-3-point shooters. That's a little bit of issue. However, Joel Embiid, their big man, their big center, he's got range. He's got Dirk-esque type range. So that could work. That could work. Now, they would have to put a couple more shooters around him, but that's just getting 3-and-D guys. Those are pretty cheap in the NBA now. You get a couple 3-and-D guys, like a 3-and-D power forward, 3-and-D 2 guard. It can be done. Spread out the floor. That'd be 3 three real good shooters, and Ben Simmons and LeBron James just feeding off one another, passing. That would be interesting. Like, can you imagine a screen and roll situation in which Joel Embiid sets the screen and LeBron's coming hard off that screen? It'd be Lob City on steroids between the three of them. Because Ben's got some hops, and we know what LeBron can do throwing down, and same with Joel Embiid. It'd be very interesting to see. And as an NBA fan, I would love to see that. Now, I've thought of two potential dark horse teams that no one's talking about that he could potentially go to. Now, is there a great chance? Maybe, but certain things have to line up. New York's one of them. Big city potential like LA. Big city. He would have, it would be a media circus, but he could handle it. LeBron's been doing this since he was 18. And Kristaps Porzingis. Now those two would be fun to see play together. However, Kristaps hurt, so he would, if I was him, and granted I'm not, and I don't know what he's thinking, but my perspective on this would be I'd have to give the guarantee to see how Kristaps is doing health-wise. It would be very interesting to see those guys work it out in that dynamic. Plus, the benefactor of being with New York or with Philly is that you're in the East. You are guaranteed to get to the NBA Finals. I mean, you're going to go up against the buzzsaw that is Golden State or Houston. However, you're guaranteed to get to the finals at the bare minimum. Now, here is one other crazy dark horse. This would be the longest of long shots, but I could see it working. This dark horse is pretty out there. But we just had St. Patty's Day, and I'm thinking Boston. Hear me out on this. Yes, him and Kyrie had a rough patch, and they had a breakup, and Kyrie went to Boston to be his own superstar. Now, if LeBron wants to, there's an easy way for him to bury this hatchet. He can go to Boston and say, I'm here to be the number 2 option to you, Kyrie. I want to coast off, ride off into a sunset with a historic team, a decent-sized market, the whole New England area, Boston pride, Boston strong. Oh, there would be a lot of people wanting this. And he'd be part of a big 3. Gordon Hayward's coming back. Be Kyrie, Gordon Hayward, and LeBron, and Al Horford would be a good role player. I don't know, with that situation, the way that all those contracts would work out, there would be a little gutting they'd have to do. But if he wanted to, and if he sucked it up a little bit, and he wants to win a couple more championships, and really stride after that MJ shadow he's chasing, that is what I would 100% do. Historic franchise, but unlike LA, no drama. He has experience playing with Kyrie. It'd be a smooth patch and saying, look, Kyrie, I understand what happened. Let's move this over man to man. This is your team. You've proven it this year. I'm here to be your sidekick now. And if I'm him, that would be the smartest thing to do. Father time's undefeated. This is year 15. If you add up all his playoff runs, all his Olympic team accolades, you're looking at least 1 to 2 more full NBA seasons he's put on his body. Now, he's a phenomenal athlete, but Father time's undefeated, and for him going to a team like that with younger stars, allowing him just to coast, and he could be the grizzly old veteran that takes over when he wants to, and when the team calls for it, that'd be great for him. I mean, there's obstacles, but that's where I'm leaning. It's a serious dark horse, but he should think about it. But hey, that's just me, and like I said, this is not your father's sports show. We're gonna do some crazy ideas, so that's one. Could be right, could be wrong, but we'll see.